So
in regards to that, Mr. Steve, essentially the Board of Adjustment at any point of time could have put a conditional use on any one of those relevant criterion standards. The relevant criterion standard about generating dust, noise, and debris could have easily been remediated during the construction process for design plan review. They had mentioned talking about using different tools to provide a little less sound to their
So they recognized it, but could have said it can be
they could have applied a
modified.
conditional,
Okay.
correct, they could have applied a conditional use, sir.
Police department?
Police department, there was actually a meeting, like I had said, after the initial application had been sent in, that the applicant had clarified, as stated before, the applicant and Chief Fry met the day before the presentation, and they did discuss some of what was brought up between that meeting to the Board of Adjustments after the fact.
Chief Fry did not pull his letter.
Correct.
okay, Bill, was there a comment you wanted to make over there?
I was just going to clarify, you have the board's written decision before you, so asking staff to
Interpret, yeah.
interpret what the board was thinking, I would encourage the council
That's
to rely
something we've
upon
got
the
to
board's
just,
written decision.
this body up here has to make that determination. Nobody's a mind reader.
And the information about whatever Chief Fry may have said after he wrote the letter, it was admitted as evidence at the hearing. It was hearsay, but hearsay is admissible, and it was considered by the body.
Okay. My two ladies to the left, I have not heard anything from. So, and I don't blame you. You got a frog voice. That's okay. If you can't speak, I'm fine with that. Gina?
But you do blame me because I have a sound voice today?
Yeah, we
Is that
can
what
hear
you're
you
saying?
just fine, Gina, so.
This is a tough one. This is a very tough decision. I think it's very. What?
You're not making a decision at this point. We're in deliberations.
It's a tough
discussing it.
topic.
discussing
Maybe
it.
that's what I want to say then. Thank you. I'm so glad that you brought me to attention, Mayor Bill. I still need more data. How's that?
Mr. Mayor.
Jim?
Personally, I don't have a problem with an automotive repair shop in the central business district. I think all the other criteria have been met by the applicant, and I think
Your
it
Honor?
can be done.
Nope.
You've yet to hear from the appellant, and so the time for discussion isn't until you've considered the appellant's position as well.
Okay, well, let's get him up here then. Can we hear the appellant? Please come up, sir. Tell us who you are, your name, your address, where you're from, and let us know what's on your mind, and then these guys up here will ask you questions, sir.
And, Your Honor, I would just also remind the appellant that the record is there. He can make the argument only on the facts that have been presented before them. You're not
Nothing
allowed
new.
to bring anything new into the, any facts or anything. This is a chance for you to make your argument.
To that, I would mention that there are.
I'm sorry, sir, you are?
I'm sorry. Honorable Mayor, I'm Isaiah Taylor. I live at 421 East 6th Street, Moscow, and I'm a co-owner of Erber Auto. And I would ask, there are several definitions of words that I can provide here, but were not, I don't think they were initially mentioned in the previous hearing. Should I scrap those, or?
You wouldn't be able to bring in the new definition. You can make your argument of what you think they are, I mean,
Okay.
as what's presented.
Thank you.
And your first name again was Isaiah?
Isaiah. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Isaiah Taylor. This is my business partner, Kip Mock, and namesake and renowned local mechanic, Jonathan Erber, down there at the end. We're here to discuss the Board of Adjustment's determination that Erber Automotive's proposed business is not a conditionally permitted use based on the first criterion. We respectfully disagree, and here's why. First of all, auto work is needed in Moscow, as you've probably read from the previous minutes. The question is whether or not it should be allowed or whether it is legally permitted per criteria 1. So a little bit of legal structure, which you saw a little bit in Ryan's presentation. Title 4, Chapter 3, Section 5 defines the central business zone, and number A of that says that the intent is the principal purpose of the central business zoning district is to provide a location for groups of compatible commercial uses having the common characteristic of not involving more than incidental and minimal assembly, fabrication, or storage of commodities, for example, establishment dispensing retail commodities, and those providing professional and personal services to the individual. The CB zoning district is the most intensive commercial zoning district to promote pedestrian use. Unbroken street-level commercial frontage is encouraged in this zoning district. So primarily, we as applicants must ensure that the nature of this business corresponds to the intent set out in the code. Specifically, the code prohibits more than minimal assembly, fabrication, storage of commodities, encourages personal and professional services to the individual, and it promotes pedestrian use. As testified before the Board of Adjustment, Erber Auto is a small shop providing professional service by trusted members of the community in a unique location. We will not be performing assembly, fabrication, or storage of commodities, and we will promote pedestrian use by allowing walk-ins and making a front street-level access, as you saw in the schematic. Additionally, Erber Auto will promote pedestrian use to the businesses around it, as we will present waiting customers with shopping options nearby, including whatever flyers nearby businesses will be willing to provide us. The marketing, signage, and interior design is intentionally tailored to jive with the unique feel of downtown Moscow business, and we want our customers to stop in and talk to the mechanics and grab popcorn in our waiting room. We think Erber Auto is in harmony with the intent of the Central Business Zone, and we think that it will be a great addition to Washington Street. Further into the code, the second part is to verify our legal adherence to allowed businesses within the zone. So Part D of Section 5 in the same code that I mentioned defines conditional uses for the Central Business Zone and includes gasoline service stations in Item 6. Now, Title 4, Chapter 11, Section 9 contains definitions of terms within the zoning code, and gasoline service station is not defined in those definitions. There's no definition for it. However, Item 9 defines automobile service station, and Item 46 defines gasoline station. So gasoline service station is not defined, but gasoline station and automobile service station are. So since it's not directly defined, we must reasonably infer a definition. And I would like to do this by referring to similar definitions with the code, namely 9 and 46, and by general English language usage. And staff can stop me if I'm overstepping, but these are the definitions for my English usage argument. One from dictionary.com, which is a place.
Bringing in outside resources at this point.
All right, thank you. Then my argument there is simply that in general language usage, which was also brought up by one of the Board of Adjustment members during the hearing, includes for that term repair of vehicles, services, and things of that nature. The specific text of Item 9, which defines automobile service station, is simple. See gasoline station. This implies that gasoline station encompasses more within the code than our standard English understanding would initially imply, which is demonstrated in the code's definition. Item 46, which defines gasoline station as follows: any area of land, including the structures thereon, that is used for the sale of gasoline or other motor fuels, oils, lubricants, and auto accessories, and which may or may not include washing, lubricating, or other minor servicing, but no painting operation. These things in mind, it is reasonable to assume that a gasoline service station would include the following things. First, that it could not include painting operation, that it would supply gasoline or other motor fuels, that it would provide service, repair, washing, and lubricating, that it could sell auto accessories. And as testified in the Board of Adjustment hearing, we believe that the scope of Erber Auto's repairs complies with this reasonable inference of the definition. And if I could ask that my business partner come up and talk about other criterion, but first, could I take questions about this criterion 1 and the
Sure, you
legal?
can address us, Mr. Taylor. Questions for Mr. Taylor, counsel.
I do have a question.
Okay,
please.
Gina?
Is it your intention, if a repair is presented that is more than the minimal, that you would turn it away?
Yes, in fact, we've decided, and this was testified in the Board of Adjustment hearing, that we are not accepting dead vehicles. So a vehicle has to be able to drive into our shop for us to service it.
And that part was in the packet that we all
That is in the
received, that it had to be a moving vehicle, could drive right in your shop.
Yes,
Wouldn't
Your
be
Honor.
something that would be pulled by a wrecker or stalled or anything else.
I'll
John.
try. Yeah, okay. No, it's all right.
I am a little still vague about who is going to move the vehicle from the street, whether it's Main Street, the Corner Club parking lot, or the Chang Sing restaurant parking lot. I was under the impression that that was going to be done by the people that work in the shop, but in the text here, there were a couple of remarks about the owner of the vehicle doing it. Could you clear that up for me?
Sir, I think Kip is also going to address this, but I can give you a sketch of it. The only people who will be driving customer vehicles in the alley will be Erber Auto employees. And the reason we're doing that, there's plenty of reasons, but one of them is Chief Fry's concerns. We've also heard concerns of other businesses around just about alley usage. So the only people to be driving in that alley will be Erber Auto employees who are well aware of all the concerns that have been brought up. So the circulation will be something like customers park in spaces around Erber Auto, walk in, we drive their vehicles to the initial holding zone, which is at Corner Club. Unless we have space in the shop, then it'll just be driven straight in by Erber Auto employees. And then when vehicles are ready to be handled, an Erber Auto employee will go to Corner Club, take the vehicle into the shop, it gets serviced, it gets driven to our Chang Sing lot, where customers pick it up, and Chang Sing is obviously right across the street. So just to continue clarification, the only people driving in that alley there will be Erber Automotive employees.
I think you're starting to get to the address of my question, which is under the part one. And it has, I think what we're trying to figure out is what's minor and what's major. I think that's like, you're a business, so you're going to turn somebody away if, you know, I guess that's the sticky point for me, because I don't understand the delineation between minor and medium and major, and do you see?
Yes, ma'am. Auto shops do turn customers away based on equipment that they have, that kind of stuff. So I don't think it would be out of regular practice to turn a customer away. That said, I think that our rule of you have to be able to drive into the shop should take care of, if not all, most of the difference between a minor repair and a major repair.
But
Yes,
you also said that, like, if somebody needed a battery changed. If my battery's dead, I can't drive into the shop.
Well, you can drive into a shop with a dead battery once your car's jumped.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's
So then you're going to have to go to that lot on the Corner Club and jump my car to get it into the shop?
yes, there are remote.
Or on the street or wherever it is
Yep,
parked?
there are handheld remote battery jumpers. We have definitely considered these things that have been brought up about, you know, minor repair, major repair, and we think that it is satisfied with saying that customers have to be able to, you know, drive their car to us to be serviced. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Well, when you say, Mr. Taylor, when you say to us, you're talking about a parking lot or somewhere else, because they cannot drive to you, right? Because you're going to pick it up somewhere and drive it in.
Yep, to public parking, which is available to all businesses in the central business zone near us. From there, we will drive it to our lots.
So somebody's battery dies, and they call you, and then you guys are going to run out with your battery charger and start them up, and then they're going to drive into the shop.
They're going to drive it in, not the people.
You're going to
We
drive
drive
it.
to the
Parking
shop.
lot.
Either our parking lot or the shop, depending on what vehicles are currently in the shop. The shop space is pretty big. We're going to have one lift in there for repairs, and there's a little bit of space inside there for parking. I think we have 3 spaces inside the shop to hold vehicles. But in the event that that's overflowed, then we have, parking down at the corner club to take vehicles, just so they're not using up public parking, which is a concern that was brought up by Yarn Underground.
So if it's minor, maybe that means that my repair would take a couple hours, which is why you're saying to the pedestrian nature. But then what if it doesn't get done? How do I get home?
You would arrange transportation in the way that you would do with, any auto shop if you took it to, Brunel or any of the other auto shops in town. But being in downtown Moscow, I think presents a unique opportunity of being able to walk around to, for instance, the co-op. The co-op's just right next door. Head over there for lunch or something like that. So obviously it doesn't make your auto experience 100% perfect, but it makes it a lot better, I think.
And I'm not sure if I read this correctly or not because there was so much information, but I thought also you were defining minor as a term of dollars. Was that in there? It's like between like $100 and $300. Did anybody
I'm not
else
sure
see
if
that?
the Board
That
of
wasn't- was that-
we didn't, but Board of Adjustment may have said something about that. I'm not sure.
No, I didn't see
I
that.
didn't
see
get that
in the
either,
record.
Kathy.
So maybe that's me thinking that would be minor. Would that be minor?
And you're going outside of the record now.
Okay.
Yeah,
For me, you're making him say something, though, he didn't
Yeah,
discuss. So
sorry.
that's
I'm
not-
just trying to get a clear understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said you have got Mr. Mock, is that correct? Kip
Yes, sir.
Mock, you want to bring him up? So, young man, come on up here. You need to introduce yourself to us and let us know who you are, where you reside, and tell us what you think of everything so we can question you.
All right, fantastic. I'm Kip Mock. I also live at 421 East 6th Street. I'd like to start off by apologizing because I know it was a little bit confusing for you guys why we had these clarifications in the Board of Adjustment hearing. And honestly, that was 100% my fault as I authorized my representative to write the application and signed it as I was out of town without thoroughly reviewing it. So I apologize to you guys for that. That was 100% my oversight. But moving on into the circulation of vehicles, I know Isaiah just mentioned this, but the circulation of vehicles is, again, handled 100% by the employees. And what I'd like to do in a couple minutes is, I know we're here to address criteria number 1 and whether or not this is a conditionally permitted use, but I also would like to give you a reason to actually want to approve this conditional use permit. I'd like to actually show you why Erber Auto in downtown would actually be a benefit. So I have 2 main reasons for that. The first is the culture of the auto shop itself. It's going to be an aesthetically focused decor, meticulously maintained shop space, and everything done in this shop will
Mr.
be
Mock,
designed-
hang on just a second. Was this all stuff that was brought up in the hearing?
Is that how you described it at the public?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And I just want to remind you, sir, that make sure you say stuff that was exactly in that hearing, nothing different than that.
Yes, sir.
please. Okay, because we don't know. We're just taking it for what we're piecing together, so we're using the staff over here to kind of help guide us if there's something that's not quite what was said in the public hearing.
Of course, yes, sir. I am only addressing things that were brought up
Okay.
in that hearing. I just wanted to reiterate it to kind of bring it to the table today.
Okay. Thank you.